Thank you, and welcome to the talk, this session, Searching for Leadership. I'm still searching for leadership, and you will see that I hope that we will have a conversation about it. Shortly about me, I am an enterprise agile coach working for TechTalk. I have more than 16 years experience in agile delivery space, working as a scrum master, as an agile coach, as a manager, and you will hear some stories also from this time, and this is shortly about me. And what we will do today. In this session, what I would like to have is us talking about leadership, and this is why you will start talking about leadership, then I will talk about leadership. So the first part is about you, and what does leadership mean to you. Then I would like to share with you some helpful insights, models, theories that I have found and that I am using in my work and that I see really helpful in working with organizations and teams. And I will intertwine this with stories. Stories from time when I learned a lot, also from my failures, where I learned really a lot. So let's talk about leadership. So let's you talk about leadership. And I would like to start with a short exploration. And this is why I'm inviting you to talk, to share with your sitting neighbor what leadership means to you, and to find at least 3 words describing leadership together. And then you will have an opportunity to share with us. This exercise, so sharing with your sitting neighbor and finding 3 words, will take us 6 minutes. Florian will help me. Thank you very much. So, starts now. Please, share. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really sorry to interrupt your conversation. It was a beautiful sound of conversation. And yes, it would be nice to hear from you. It's your time, so please share. What did you find out? Who would like to start?
Enabling.
Enabling, thank you.
Transparency.
Transparency.
Trust.
Trust, thank you. Inspiration, thank you.
Enable decisions.
Role model, sorry?
Enable decisions.
Enable decisions.
Hosting.
Thank you. Sorry? Support. Thank you. Responsibility. Beautiful. You see how much we already know about leadership, how much you already know about leadership. It's a picture that we have. They're the things that we somehow know and we see. And for me, it was a journey of understanding of what do I search for. I was searching for leadership. So thank you very much for sharing. And I would also invite you during the talk, we will have at the end around 10 minutes time for questions and conversations. But if something is not clear or you see you would like to share something, so please share also during the talk. Thank you very much for participating. So what I will show you now will be a couple, I hope not too many slides, but you will get access to the slides. So I will also not go through everything on these slides. It's a kind of information that you can use, maybe take for your conversations. And this is, again, not to cover all the slides. So where I would like to start, I would like to start with the world of change. And we all live in the world that is changing so fast, and the accelerating of the change is visible everywhere. But where is the change in organizations? The change starts in me, in myself. Okay? I'm also getting a bit older, and I see some other things emerging in me. So change is coming in teams, in individuals, in products and services, in teams of teams. Sometimes we call them tribes, sometimes we call them Agile release trains. There are different names for them. In communities, in customers, in our organization as a whole, in other organizations. So these are places where we can find change in organizations and some more. And so what is this change? There are some changes that we call digital transformation, agile transformation, adaptive transformation, the change of the remote work that we are confronted with changes that happened around us in the world. And there are also some many more changes. So this is what is happening, how we name this in our organizations. What is happening around me, my family, and us? I will not go through the names here, but I believe you can find them everywhere around, and many more. So what is the impact? What is my experience of the world? Well, I am worried about the impact that this will have on me, on my family, on my friends, colleagues, organization. I'm pretty sure, I'm afraid that this speed of technical change will render my skills obsolete. So these apps, I don't know what is going on. I don't know what apps the younger generations are using, yeah, we will see. I'm feeling a loss of control. Everything that is happening around me, so where do I find myself in it? So this where, what, who, these are some of the questions that I found useful in conversations with people in organizations where I was working with. So what is trying to happen? What is new in the organizational systems? So these questions, as again, you can find this later in the slides that you will get, these questions help me in the conversations with people to talk about what is happening around us in the organizations. So, one model that I found very useful to kind of understand what type of challenges or problems we are confronted with is coming from adaptive leadership from Ronald Heifetz. It's about technical and adaptive change. In the space of technical problems or challenges, problem definition is clear and the solution is clear. In adaptive, we have a different situation. Problem definition requires learning and solution requires learning. And there is also some kind of space in the middle. So this space in the middle is a kind of how do I see problems and challenges when I am first confronted with. I see them as something. And usually, and this is why this model helps me, it helps me to start thinking which parts are technical and which parts are adaptive. Where I will access, and you will see here, the current knowledge that we have, so in this technical space, and where do I need to, even for the problem definition, we need to start talking with people that are also part of the problem situation. So all together, it's not about one person having a clear definition about the problem. So I would like to tell you a story when I was working as a manager. And I was tasked to improve the operations. At that time, organization where I was working for had a problem with stability and customers were not very satisfied. How did I approach this problem? Well, I said, okay, so this is the problem, this is what I need to do. I talked with several people, I collected relevant information, what I thought at that time that is relevant. It was pretty clear for me at that time what is the problem, and it was also pretty clear what we need to do. I also had several conversations with people in my department, and, well, I defined and specified what would be a solution, how to improve the operations. What happened? Well, I think you suppose you already suppose that I failed, and it's true, I failed. Because I didn't involve the people that were part of the problem in defining the problem, in learning about what is the problem, and didn't involve the people in finding the solution. I was the hero. I was being and acting like a hero. I knew better. It was painful for the people and for me, and I have learned that humility and asking people for help helps, that it is a sign of real leadership. Years later, I understood some elements that I will show you today, how I would have approached this situation better. So let's go into what is leadership. And I would like to start with, what do I hear people talking about leadership when we are talking about leadership? Leaders, followers, senior management, the role it has in change, authority, cultural conditions, types of leadership. There are many types of leadership. You will see here many aspects of leadership. Some of this we will touch in this talk, and you will see many types of leadership, and they are all good. We can find aspects that will help us in our work, in our organizations, in many of them. Okay? So, I will show you now one adaptive leadership that was very insightful for me, and it defined the core of leadership for me. It is the practice of mobilizing people to tackle these tough challenges. Okay? It's not like solving their problems. It's mobilizing people so that they can solve their problems, that we can work together. Okay, and this is something that was very also helpful for me in my work, and it is helpful now as an Agile coach. I find also very beautiful the systems-inspired leadership, where we talk about ability, how to create and lead from the system, where the leader, so systems-inspired leaders, facilitate emergence in the system. So what is going on in the system? How we can reveal it to the system, how we can make a system aware of the things that are emerging, that will be part of the change. Agile leadership. So as an Agile coach, I come to the organizations and we talk about what will help organizations in, well, creating business value with agile teams. Okay? How can agility help the organizations to create the business value? And some of the things that we talk about is how to create the right context and environment for self-managing teams, how to create clarity and objectives on objectives and outcomes, how to let people and teams discover the best way to achieve it. Okay? And this is sometimes, you can find also many definitions of agile leadership. I think this one, which you can be found in the Wikipedia, summarizes quite a lot about agile leadership and what it is all about. So, for me, what I hear through many definitions of leadership, and what I saw in many cases, is that the leadership is about assisting, supporting change in the system. How to help people be aware of the things that will change and how to assist them, support them during the change. And sometimes leadership is dangerous. And why is leadership dangerous? In leading change, we are challenging people to leave behind some things that they hold dear. Okay? Some things that they are good at. So these are, for example, the tools that they use, the habits that they have. And through this, we basically create a feeling of loss, not directly, but indirectly, because the people are losing something. They are losing their, well, also sometimes identity with their work that they were doing well. How we can help them, how we can assist them. We can honor the past. We can be aware of this, that change is creating this feeling of loss and also pain, so that we honor the past, that we say, let's visit the other side. Let's see what is new and how the new is feeling, and maybe even come back for a while and go maybe some iterations to see and feel how the people can change. So, in doing this, we can use two moves. One is moving on the dance floor, and one is on the balcony, getting on the balcony. What does it mean? As a leader in the change, moving on the dance floor means assisting people in the change, so mobilizing people, supporting them in running experiments, of supporting them in learning. But as a leader, you are with the people, you are moving on the dance floor, you are running this experiment with them. And then on the balcony means seeing from the distance what is going on the dance floor, to understand what our patterns are happening, what patterns are emerging. And this is better to see, or easier to see, when you take this distance. And I would like to show you, how do I get on the balcony? So the question is always how. So this is me on the left side, and this is on the right side. These are the systems. These are places where the change happens. So what I try to do is I really try to make a space, okay? Meaning like really distancing myself from these systems. I take time. This getting on the balcony needs time. For me, it's important that I take time for this. I'm trying to understand what is my story about this. What do I see? I tell myself stories, and I try to separate facts from the stories. I share this story with others and invite others to share their stories so that I can better understand also the other perspectives, and I try to understand from other perspectives what is going on in the system. And I'm trying to focus on the relationship systems, on what is going on in the systems between the people, in the relationships between the people. Back to the story where I failed as a manager. What could have helped me? I could have diagnosed the adaptive problem to see, okay, which parts are technical, which parts are adaptive. I could have reframed and generate multiple interpretations. I could have involved people in defining the problem, seeing where is the problem, what data do we have, how we can interpret the problem, and what could we try out, what we could run as an experiment to see what we can improve and how we can improve. I could have inspired people. So these are some things that I could do better, and I'm hoping that this is something that I can help now teams. So let's talk about leadership and management as processes. Okay? So what is leadership here? Leadership as a process is about establishing a direction and vision for the future. So this is found in a very nice book from John Picotta and others, Change. And on the other side, we have the management. Management process is about stability, about reliability, to creating structures and policies that will help an organization to have a reliable and stable processes. And this is important because we need both. We need leadership and we need management. And for me, it was really helpful to have this distinction because of the conversations with people in organizations, to make them aware that establishing direction, this vision, and motivating, inspiring people is also part of the management job. So who is doing what work? Again, technical and adaptive. So in the technical and adaptive, the work is applying current knowledge. because we know what is the problem, we know what should be the solution, and this is in the domain of authorities, of the management. So this stability. In the domain of the adaptive work, we need learning. So we need to learn new ways, and it is a domain of the leadership. And this is why, please don't go through everything, just hear the headlines. Management produces order and consistency. Very good. Leadership produces change and movement. Again, very good. We need them both. So, again, a story. So, me working as an Agile coach, I was in one setting, in one Agile setting, where I witnessed that, that co-leaders at that time, the managers of this Agile setting, showed a great courage to stand still in the face of uncertainty, and they showed vulnerability in relationships, to take risks of showing emotions, talking about the failures. And I saw how people in the setting were inspired from this. This was beautiful to see, and I think that these two abilities can really make a difference. I saw them making difference. So, culture and leadership. We hear a lot about culture in organizations. So culture is really covering everything in the organization. Edgar H. Schein talks about external adaptation and internal integration, and it covers both vision, strategy, mission, how we do things, and about what values do we have, how do we talk in the organization, the language. So this is basically a cumulative shared learning, what has worked well, okay? At the beginning, when the organization is still young, in the early stages, the leaders are defining the culture. In the later stages, when the organization is mature, the culture defines acceptable leadership. And this second part is very important for understanding about how change can happen in an organization. Will change be successful or not? Because this change will not be successful if it clashes with the culture, if the culture does not accept the values in this change. So this is where it's very important to take these cultural aspects. So another story. Again, this was the time when I was a manager. I take a task to improve the communication and structures. And I saw a beautiful opportunity to kind of introduce agile values, agile way of working to the whole organization. And I went on a crusade to change the culture of the organization. After initial successes, and I failed, because after the initial successes, the resistance started to mount. The people understood what does it mean to have agile values, agile way of working in the whole organization, and I ended up standing alone. So, managers and leaders everywhere, managers and leaders, they have a grand opportunity to support organizational adaptation by creating this environment where people are motivated and inspired. How they can do this? Well, they need simple governing principles, guiding visions, sincere values, organizational beliefs. And just imagine the organization where the people are speaking up when they name the elephant in the room, when they share the responsibility for the organizational success, and take the initiative to change. And managers have here really important part to play, to create this place. So we are almost finished with this part, so really sorry about these slides. I just wanted to give some inputs that we can use in the conversation about leadership. And when we talk about the change, what is very important for me is this following the ground conditions for change. What is new in the system? What is entering the system? That there is a sense of shared purpose about the change. That everyone has the opportunity to give input how the change will be implemented. And that they know what will happen with the input and how the decisions will be made. Pretty simple. I saw it, and it works really beautiful. And I'm looking the person where I saw it. These ground conditions for change are really very, very, very important. So I will now close. There is no more text in the slides. I think we have still some three. Sorry? Ooh, okay, good. So there will be time for talking together, for conversation. Final thoughts. I'm still searching for leadership. I have some models that I found useful. It's very important for me. Some things that happened or that helped me in my search for leadership, it was coaching to find my visions, what do I stand for, my coaching stance, my coaching principles. So this was very helpful. What else was helpful? It was helpful for me. The leadership circle profile assessment was helpful for me to understand where do I stand for with different leadership capabilities. What do I need to develop on myself, in myself? And I believe that what is most important is what will you do with the leadership? How will you assist and support people? And this is where I will end. And thank you very much for participating. And please, now we can talk about, do you have questions and so on?
So, a big round of applause, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Zvonimir, for all your helpful insights. To me, it connected a lot of dots to systems theory and also to what we heard with Sabine Lammert about neuroscience. There are a lot of connections. Maybe some of you can connect too. But it's not about me, it's about you. Please come up with your questions. We've got 10 minutes.
Maybe also you want to
and
share
I will wait
something.
for your questions.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Zvonimir. I just loved your talk. Thank you for that. So if managers produce order and stability, this is what you said on your slide, and leadership produces change and movement, yes? Must managers then object change?
Okay, good question. I think it's about, for me, what I would say is I would like to have then the conversation about what needs to be stable, okay? What parts of what processes, what is important for the organization for having this stability, okay? And then to see, based on the current challenges that the organization has, problems, pain points, to see what should change in order to improve certain aspects of the organizational life of the organization itself. Then that what has to change is the question, how much of this will maybe disrupt some of these things that are stable? Or what kind of new stability will be created kind of out of, I will not say chaos, but maybe of some time of disruption in the organization, and see what kind of new stable status will be created in the organization. Thank you.
I would try to give a different answer. How many people know pure managers who are no leaders? And how many people know pure leaders who are no managers? Where I want to come to is, usually if you have some kind of leading position, you have management tasks and you have leadership tasks. And I don't like the separation at all. So when it comes to this question, I think this is something which each individual leader and manager has to cope with in person and has to decide where I am reluctant to change and where I want to go in the lead.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing. Yes, I think it's very much personal, and it has to be. At that time, when I was sharing the stories about me being a manager, I didn't have a coach. I think that having a coach would be helpful for me at that time, maybe to have a conversation about it, to see what is important for me, and maybe get the feedback. Look, maybe you could try something else. Okay, it would not be a pure professional coaching, but somebody where I can talk with, okay, to get these kind of conversations about the problems, about the context, and about how we can approach this. Thank you very much for sharing.
Just to add to that, I know a lot of leaders that aren't managers. They're Scrum Masters. They're servant leaders. As a Scrum Master, you don't actually manage the team. You inspire the team. You give them a vision. You help them improve. So I would say there are also line managers that don't actually act like leaders because they only handle, I would say, administrative tasks. So they have no influence, or maybe they should. Maybe it would be good. But they don't really have any influence in the self-development of the teams.
In that case, they are bad line managers.
Possibly. Or they give this task to the Scrum Master. What I would ask, Zvone, there are many leaders, for example, that don't always learn from their failings. They fail, but they blame something else. They blame the tool, they blame the people, maybe. How would you approach such a leader?
Thank you. Thank you for this question. Very good question. I think that I would like really to have a conversation about what is important to this person. Okay, what happened? Okay, so that I can hear the thoughts from this person, how this person saw this happening, this situation or whatever. And then try to introduce different perspectives on the same things that happened. Encourage the person to talk with other people, to get others' perspectives of what happened. It's not easy. I think that I start with all people have these capabilities. We need to approach them. We need also to show that it is okay also to failing. Okay? We need to accept also this part also of the person in question. You're welcome. Okay, some easier questions, maybe? Bit?
And maybe also, if you want to share experiences, it doesn't have to be a question. Just sharing experiences also helps.
Yeah, thanks. I also think it's quite important in this summary that maybe if you are a coach or you have some person to go to, that maybe he's more experienced than you, and he would let you do the fail. Because he cannot pass the experience until you fail, so you will gain it. So maybe he will just let you fail somehow a little bit, maybe not too much, But yeah, he will know that it will happen, and it will let you to do it in some way. The same as if you teach a child to drive a bike. You maybe in an easy way let him fall. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for sharing. Yes, personal learning is very important. I found really helpful coaching talks to really understand how do I approach situations, to understand what could be different perspectives. Thank you. Lunch is almost here.
That could be one reason. I mean, I see a lot of people thinking, that's a good thing. But now it's a closed question. Is there one more question? Maybe it's 3 minutes left. Else we can also spend those 3 minutes having lunch.
Enjoy, and please,
so
we can have a conversation everywhere.
Exactly. Please, one more big round of applause for Zvone.
Thank you.
And enjoy your lunch.
For you. No, not for me. For you.